We're back. Happy New Year.
It's been a while.
It's been a month.
Haven't seen you in a while.
Haven't seen you, in 4 or 5 hours. Big news. All the Energize portfolio companies announcing rounds left and right.
Left, right, and center. I thought you were going to say big news. The Cowboys were out of the playoff hunt.
Tom Brady's the best. He's been better than the Cowboys for the last 20 years. It's pretty bad.
There's a football team here called the Chicago Bears who are also terrible. I'm not a fan, but they are terrible.
Yeah. You know, we'll get into this in our next announcement, but the Cubs selling all of their pieces this summer or this winter, really disappointing for some people I know moving to Chicago.
Yes.
That want to watch the Cubs compete.
But here's the thing. It's a very fun environment regardless. And another fun fact is that the Cubs' energy sponsor is Energize.
Oh, yeah. Love those guys.
They blast the 7th and 8th inning. They have all over the stadium. I think that was the largest shareholder at Choose Energy, if I recall correctly. So you'll enjoy that.
Can't wait.
Right. So today we have a pretty full agenda of one main item to discuss. Power down. It's been a few months, and in that time, we have some fun news in that Mr. Kevin Stevens is joining or has joined Energize Ventures.
Yes, crazy. I like the swag, which I don't have any of yet.
Right.
Thanks, Juan.
Soon.
Supposed to have a whiskey glass, but haven't seen one.
Soon. I think hopefully for those that have listened to, like the 5 of you that have listened to this so far, you'll note that we get along pretty well. And there were some items that were growing here at Energize where it made a lot of sense for Kevin to be put into the team. So had some interesting conversations over Thanksgiving and end of the year, and he officially joined us. What was your first day?
January 11th.
January 11th.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to believe it's already been 2 weeks. It's and speaking of the 5 people that listen to us, weekly show, shout out, Jerry Dice. How's it going?
All right. So Kevin is joining us as a principal. He will be leading, amongst a few items that we have coming up, our growth efforts. What does that mean to you, Kevin? Because I don't really know still.
Well, we're figuring it out. We're 2 weeks in and we have all the answers and ready to go. No, I think what it means to me is that all of our companies reach a point, especially as they scale and get successful, of the period that changes from what I would say is like commercialization to becoming a real company. And as we were talking through our investment team meeting on Tuesday, and we were going over a board deck, I think somebody, I forget who it was, commented, I told them they were a real company now. And that's what growth is, right? Growth is you've figured out your product to an extent. You've figured out who your customer is to an extent, to a pretty good extent, I think, by that point. And now you're putting the systems in place that allow you to allocate capital correctly. They allow you to hire. I mean, if you think about, we have Aurora, who just announced a big round, who's going to go on a massive hiring spree. And something we experienced at Choose is like, how do you keep culture? How do you go from 10 to 60 to 200 and keep the same culture that keeps performance high? I think those things are important. And, the mundane stuff, the systematizing your product roadmap, your finances, all of the things that make you a real company so that you understand dollar in, dollar out, how we're spending our time. That's what growth is. And I'm excited. I think that's we learned so many great lessons at Choose, and I'm excited to help our portfolio companies hopefully accelerate their learning too.
Yeah. And to pull that thread a little further, before Kevin joined, what was happening is he mentioned Aurora as a great example. Just the companies in our portfolio were hitting commercial levels that we didn't expect for a few more years. And it's a proof point. I think it's a super corny and overused line at this point, but the whole software is, eating different parts of the world mantra. I thought it would be slower. Our entire team thought it'd be slower in energy and industrial transition, but it's just here. It's here today. COVID probably accelerated it. The newest administration is definitely accelerating it. And so all of a sudden, if your companies can go from an upside of 500 to $1 billion in exit to billions, how do you reframe an investment organization to support them? And when we ran that process, people who had history in the space on the investment and the operating side were critical. I think it'd be fun, Kevin, if I don't think many people know this about you, just give your history, your family history in the energy world.
Yeah, so I've been around the energy space for the better part. My first high school job was actually sweeping the warehouse at a utility, a rural utility in Texas, and I complained enough that didn't last very long. And my first role in energy was actually in high school, translating engineering hand drawn like transmission lines to CAD. So this utility had centuries of data, right of ways, and all their stuff. And the area was growing at the time, so you had this conglomeration of like the new being built, new substations, new power lines, and the old that needed to make it into one system. And so my job was literally just to take these blueprints and put them into CAD, which was really fun, and I learned a lot. And I worked with some electrical engineers and things like that. And so, and then kind of translating into what that means today, and something you've impressed upon me, and I don't think that even I appreciate, is there aren't many of us that operated and lived through Clean Tech 1.0,
right, that
are still on this side of the table. It's been a pretty big turnover. So I'm hoping that my appreciation for the industry and how it moves and seeing where it was when I was in high school to where it is today, and also living through some of that, really comes through when I'm working with entrepreneurs on how to scale their business.
One of the reasons we brought you on, in addition to your investment and operating experience, was your ability to be a team player, jump in and out whenever needed. Obviously, you and Jonathan Crowder at Intellis did an excellent job scaling Intellis. What lessons? What do you love about firm building and on the investment side? And we'll start with that question.
Man, something that you and I have talked a lot about, and I think you should tell your part of the story too. This goes for fundraising, it goes for company building. You have to love the mundane, or you have to not hate it, right? I mean, we talked about this. Like, we talked about this when I was joining Energize. Talk about a little bit about Choose. I want to flip it a little bit on you. I know my part of Choose is just like when we built the small business product, I was doing data entry every morning from like 8 to noon. What was your first experience at Choose? Because you had a few where you were just doing like data entry stuff.
Yeah. So the API term is very cool these days. I think we were probably the first energy company to be building APIs in America. Full stop. And before we had to do that, or when we were doing that, we would have to do QA or data analytics on the information coming through, the trends coming through, pricing changes. And a lot of it was manual. It was fun. It was manual. And then coming here, just to bring that to the present day, a lot of the interpersonal relationships you develop with entrepreneurs, there's no technology that can take that over. Your LPs,
yeah.
Try to make that an API, and it would be out of money tomorrow. So
I think that's the lesson for me for fund building. Like you asked, what do you like about firm building, or what did you learn? No one blogs about the things that actually move a fund forward, or let's say institutionalize it, right? So one of the things you told me as I was interviewing is I was going to be surprised by the amount of operational rigor that that goes on, non-investing operational rigor that goes on with Energize. I think if you're building a firm right, and I would like to think Intellis is, or was and still is, I think, Jonathan does a great job of this as well, is you're doing the things, the LP reports, the, looking at financials, like, building financials for a company, whatever it may be. You do the things that aren't blogged about or tweeted about. And you have to like we talked about, like it can't be in the mundane. I think one of the, I don't remember which famous investor, it might be Munger, that talks about, like, you do have to enjoy the practice. Everybody likes the game. Everybody loves writing checks. Everybody loves investments. Two things on that, by the way. Writing a check is like that. The work that goes into before you write an investment and the work that goes in with the entrepreneur after you make an investment, you have to be prepared for those, and you have to love those. And if you don't, I don't think you can be successful with this business.
So what, you've been here only 2 weeks, but what's the biggest positive surprise you've had so far?
The camaraderie amongst the team. I mean, it's not a surprise, but I think it's the biggest positive. I was actually catching up with an old friend this morning, and kind of talking about career choices. Her and I were talking about, like, where our career paths were going. Being an entrepreneur is, even if you're working with somebody you love, like when it's just a team of two, is a much different experience than working with a team of 8, team of 20, etc. And I really get energized by the things that I think people, no pun intended, energized, but I get energized by, like, doing our daily meetings with our team and getting to connect with people. And it's a team that like truly cares about each other, and I think people would be shocked at how much we talk non-investment wise. And so that's been a really nice upside.
You're coming to Chicago.
I am, and the Cubs are selling all of their parts, so I'm not going to get to see a winner. Tell Keith Raboy to quit tweeting about being a contrarian as he goes to Miami. I'm moving from Texas, where everyone else is moving. I'm leaving.
Chicago winters are lovely. But I think it's actually interesting. We had 2 offices at Choose that work measurably well. We're being pretty insistent on one office here. Why are you comfortable? What are your, just talk us through what your concerns were.
What my concerns were. I will say this for anybody listening: if you have the chance to take a job opportunity that you believe is life-changing, career-changing, and you will enjoy, I don't think it matters where you live. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Take the risk, take a chance. That being said, my wife drove this decision. Let's be 100% clear.
She was okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Once she gave the go ahead, I was, of course, it was deal. But to flip it back on you a little bit, I wouldn't be doing this if we didn't have a relationship. I mean, that should be pretty clear, right? Like, I don't think I would pick up my life and go do something unless I thought it was a special opportunity, and B, thought that I would be in a working environment that with people that I care about. One of the conversations you and I had before I joined Energize was not about the work. It was about the social stuff. Like, can you help me get acclimated? The team is going to be my only group of friends for the first few months as I, move and those kinds of things. And had the interview process not gone so smoothly, and I didn't see the camaraderie amongst the team, the decision would have been a lot harder. But I think most importantly, if you get a chance to do something that you believe matters, mission driven, financially driven, whatever matters to you, and with people you care about, you should do it. Take the risk.
Yeah, I'm glad you felt that way of taking the risk. I don't truly believe that we took a risk in you. Quite the opposite. Fortunate to have you. And hope, it's hard to predict what we'll be doing within the growth platform in a few years. Other than for those that are still listening, there's a lot of excitement to come. But I want to throw it back at you. All right, 2 words or less describe each person on the team at Energize.
2 words. That's not even
3 words.
It's not even a complete sentence, is it? Oh, okay. That's hard. John Tuff, the celebrationist. Who am I stealing that from? Katie, right?
Yeah, Katie.
Okay. Yeah. John's a child at heart.
Child at heart.
Yeah.
Fair.
Going back to the weather thing, John sends me pictures of the snow. Look what you're missing. Look how much fun the kids are having, which is really code for look how much fun John Tuff is having in the snow.
There's no kids with me in those photos. It's just me.
You Photoshop Mav on the ski slope, but really it's like you're hanging out in the backyard the ski slope. So that's one.
Katie. I'll tell you if you're right.
I don't know if I can do it in 3 words, but just makes you feel relaxed. So authentic, genuine, and just like you automatically feel like you're at home.
That's good. I don't want to give away her secret, but she's a silent killer. So feel that way.
Yeah, there you go. Well, the part I didn't say there was like she relaxes you so that you'll tell her.
Yeah.
She's
incredible. Great investor. The world will know who Katie McLean is very, very soon.
And so much of this is an EQ game, and a people game, and so she's so good at that. Juan, the original. Juan's an original.
Yeah,
is who he is. I mean, in the best of ways, right? Like anybody who can, and I'm hopefully not giving away a secret here, but anybody who can be a mascot, maybe the mascot in all of college football.
He was the leprechaun.
Yeah,
for 3 years. Leprechaun.
The leprechaun. That's what I should have said.
Tyler.
I'm Mr. Direct.
Yeah.
Calls it how it is.
Eileen. We're going quick.
Ooh. And I've only gotten to know Eileen for...
She's our other newest hire.
Yeah.
It started the same day. She'll be on here soon. She'll be the next Power Down guest.
Oh.
She doesn't know that yet.
Oh, what I don't know the 3 words. Eileen's gonna crush it and doesn't know it yet.
I like it.
She's just like we were having a great call today, and she's like, I'm just unsure of this and unsure of that, and I'm like, why the hell are you unsure? Like what? Like every time I'm in a meeting with you, I'm like, oh yeah, that's really intelligent, and I would have never thought of that, and I've done this for 3 years. You've done it for 2 weeks. But loads of potential, and I'm excited for when she realizes and gets comfortable in her own skin.
All right. Who's next? Kelly.
Oh, Kelly.
Kelly, then Mark.
Again, I'm not sticking to 3 words. I'm not short on brain. Kelly's also another one that makes you feel super at ease immediately, like super relatable, but also has a fierce execution about her. Like the way she presents things, follow up, like just maybe like the anti-marketer in a lot of ways, if that makes sense. Like she is a marketer, but the anti-marketer, like there's no fluff. Like she's super direct, great execution, which is as we know, rare in marketing sometimes.
Yes. Very.
Sorry, all the marketing, the zero marketing folks that listen to this podcast. Or this video. Mr. Meme.
Mr. Meme, done. Don't more. Oil and gas meme. Steven, and then Lori.
Lori's she's the mom. She takes care of everybody. Like she's the again. I'm so shocked by like just the warmth of like, so when we told, like I'm talking to people like, so for those who don't know, Lori is also a fellow Texan. And so like Lori and I bonded immediately over like, what's it like going in the winter and those kinds of things.
She's our CFO for the record.
And just immediately like, how can I make you feel at home? What can I do for you? Yeah, those kinds of things. Also super quick in terms of how like, funding structures and securities in the private market are incredibly complex and complicated. Lori gets them immediately.
Yeah, she's superpower.
Yeah. So that's
last one.
What's Steven's? I think Steven was the only interview where I was like, I don't know how that went. Like stoic, but makes anybody who does really solid operations, I think, will appreciate this. When operations go well, no one notices, and when they go terribly, the firm falls apart.
It's true.
So, like, I mean, that's just the nuts and bolts of it. Like, if the trains are running on time, and I will say this about like, I worked retail when I was in college. Some, you did this role at Choose. You never respect that role until you either A, have to do it, or B, it's not there. Like that's just like operations and making the trains run on time, those kinds of things. Like people are, when everything goes smoothly, and people think that they go smoothly because they go smoothly.
Yeah. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes. The duck is pedaling hard under the water.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it back on you. The 3 words for Kevin Stevens.
Acquired taste. I think. I don't know.
I would just say dedicated team player. That's it.
Yeah, here to one of the things that excites me about this role, in addition to the growth side and helping entrepreneurs, is that when we talked about me joining Energize, and I thought that this was just, I think naively thought that everybody felt this way. You're like, hey, you're going to get to do a little bit of everything. Like, can we plug you in here? Can we plug you in there? And I hope the team sees that I embrace that role. There's no job. I would say there's no job too small. And then the other one is, I think this is, I don't know where I heard this, but you don't think you're above anybody, but you don't think you're below anyone. Mentality, right? You just come in and do what it takes to win. And we're going to win.
Hell yeah, man. Well, that's it. Let's wrap it up. Power down. First one, 2020.
Quick 25 minutes. You will see more of the team soon. Power down is going to continue, right? I mean, can we get the team on here? Let's do some power down.
The team, you don't know it yet, but you're signed up. I think we need to get Eileen on here next. Eileen will be the next one on power down.
Cool. We'll see you in a few weeks, Eileen.
Maybe next week. Who
knows? Depends on how the week goes and if we need a drink. All right. See you, everyone.
We will.